Yo, what is going on, guys? My name is TamezTech and welcome to a brand new video. Today we are going to be checking out a team that I hope can take me up to legend. I had a pretty good run with this team yesterday. We didn't climb too much elo, but we did stay pretty level without dropping too much. I think we gained about 150 170 elo, but yeah, I really enjoyed this team. If I could change one thing of the team is to have one of the Pokemon non-shadow, and that Pokemon would be Cradily. But yeah, let's go ahead and check out the team and you guys will see what I'm talking about here. I'm very excited to show you guys this team. I really hope I don't get completely RPS today, because I will keep using this team until I get legend, hopefully before the new league rotation here. But yeah, we're using Shadow ANNIHILAPE in the lead, Corviknight on the swap, and Cradily in the back. We can also swap Cradily depending on what the lead is. Just be a little bit conscious of that. But yeah, the team, I don't really know exactly how or why it worked, but it worked very well. We did win a lot of the leads today. We are double strong into Wiggly as well, so if we see a Wiggly lead, hopefully we can have some play in the back line. Although you guys know that when there's a Wiggly lead, there's usually a lot of answers to to the hard Pokemon. But yeah, regardless, here is the team. Let's go ahead and check out these battles, see how we did today. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I do not have a lot of losses to showcase today. So I hope that's not too big of a deal. But yeah, in the very first lead, we see Steelix, and honestly, this is an amazing lead. We see Altaria on the swap, and we have Cradily to answer this. Now, once again, I feel like Shadow Cradily is kind of cope. It doesn't really do much for us here. And if anything, I feel like it has worse matchups, right? Most of the time, Grass Knot or Rock Tomb are going to close to one-shot anything. And even here in Altaria, as you can see, we swap pretty damn quick here. But unfortunately, Altaria is still going to get to 2 Sky Attacks. So that is the reason why I shielded first, because I knew I was going to have to shield one if I wanted to keep switch advantage. Now, one very cool thing about Cradily here is, look at how much this Grass Knot does, bro. Oh my god, that is almost 2 shots of Steelix. That is very decent. And as soon as I saw that damage, I realized, you know what, I think I have to stay in here. Also, we get a spam call. I am not a stranger to these, so if you guys don't like these, I apologize, but you are going to see at least 2 more throughout this video. I do not know what is going on. Probably my phone number got leaked somewhere, or all these Indeed applications, but whatever. I'm getting a lot of spam calls now. But yeah, we bring in an ANNIHILAPE into Steelix. We tank the first Psychic Fangs because we know we can. And our opponent tries to snipe us with Wigglytuff. They actually do land a charm there. But of course, we knew that this team was extremely sad. So we know that we are going to be able to more than likely win this game. I mean, Corviknight into Wigglytuff is good enough. It's honestly not even an amazing matchup, but we are throwing these air cutters practically instantly to kind of counteract the debuff that Icy Wind is doing to us. And yeah, look at this. I mean, thanks to all these air cutter boosts, we are able to chip down this Wiggly so much. I actually predict the combo swap right there on the Wigglytuff. And I know that one counter from ANNIHILAPE is going to knock out Wigglytuff regardless. So that was a very safe swap from me there, because I know a counter is going to knock out. I want to have as much energy as I can. We leave with 1 HP here, but thankfully we are able to counter down the Wigglytuff, especially now with the Rage Fist boost, and we're able to take that game. On to the next game here, and I feel so sorry, man. I feel like maybe I'm the problem right now. I am using the meta Pokemon and I'm running into the non-meta Pokemon, which is very unbelievable, because usually when I run Spice, I run into nothing but Wiggly double slap or Basti users left and right. But now I'm running into a Machamp lead, which is absolutely awesome. And it's just a little bit sad for me. So right now, I full send the payback because I kind of want shields down. I know that Machamp can't really do much if shields are completely down here, so I can just come in with an ANNIHILAPE here. I know that Marowaks love throwing on alignment here, so that is completely fine by me. I take less Mud Slaps and I have more energy. My opponent brings in Blastoise here, and I bank almost 2 Rage Fists. I bring in Cradily mostly to just give it some use, because at this point, Cradily is useless for me. Annihilate can fully take this game. So if I can bring in Cradily, cap tie with the Grass Knot, and check this out. Shadow Cradily barely surviving that Hydro Cannon. Oh my god, I thought we were going to get knocked out for sure there. But this Grass Knot should one-shot, so Blastoise is going to shield it. Again, unfortunately for Blastoise, they are not going to be able to take this game. For some reason, my opponent brings in Marowak there, maybe trying to get some Mud Slap damage through, but I just don't think that was the right time because they just gave me a bunch of energy. And yeah, we're able to farm down Blastoise before they even get to a Hydro Cannon. This poor Machamp is just not going to be able to do anything against our Annihilate. Even a Cross Chop would not knock out from this range. Rage Fist and a counter will do it, and that's going to be a GG. On to the next match here. We see a Malamar on the lead, and honestly, this is kind of a tricky lead for us. We don't really have a lot of answers to this, so I'm going to stay in with Annihilate, believe it or not. Maybe just farm up to the Rage Fist. They usually throw right before you get it. And I'm just going to pivot into Corviknight here. And one very crucial error by my opponent here, they let me cap tie them with the Air Cutter. That is very, very important. Because they let me cap tie them, I can land this Air Cutter while their defense is dropped. But look at what my opponent does. They actually swap as soon as the charge move hits them, which means that I don't know how much HP they have. We have to keep that in mind because depending on how much HP that thing has, we might be able to farm it down with one counter or not, right? So Corviknight comes in, a little bit of a tricky Pokemon to see, up shields and up energy here. Definitely not ideal, but we can bring in Cradily, no problem here. They throw an Air Cutter. Thankfully, they don't boost here. I'm going to throw a little bit more energy just because I am fearful that as soon as I land this Rock Tomb, my opponent might want to pivot because they have an energy lead against Cradily. Cradily has a little bit slow pacing compared to the rest of the meta. So I do want to keep over farming if I can here. My opponent does boost on the next one though, so I want to make sure that these sand attacks are back to their neutral damage. They do let that first Rock Tomb go, which means that I can combo play with Annihilate here. And whether they shield or not, I should be able to get a full farm down here. They actually instantly pivot into Blastoise, which is a massive, massive misplay by my opponent. The ideal play there would have been to try to get to an Air Cutter. No one move is going to one-shot Blastoise from my Annihilate. So if they got to an Air Cutter, claim the shield, they just get to a Hydro on Blastoise, and that's a GG. But unfortunately for them, they let me farm up a bunch of energy. Now I can outpace the Corviknight, and whether that Malamar has to move or not, it's going to get knocked out by either my Annihilate or my Cradily, and that's going to be a good game. So yeah, kind of a misplay by my opponent there. We have to keep in mind, like, we can't really bring in a Pokemon that is terrible into another one unless we claim some sort of resource first, right? My opponent, it is Blastoise in the lead. Very favorable lead for us. They have no fast move pressure. They pivot into Corviknight. We do 5 counters and swap because, of course, they have the one-turn swap there. So we can very, very safely do our 5 counters and catch on Cradily here. Cradily is going to have a decent matchup into Corviknight. Unfortunately, we are not going to be able to fully claim switch advantage without going down resources. I don't really feel the need to shield this move. It is a payback, but I'm thinking, you know what? It's not like Corviknight has a terrible time into Blastoise, and if I can get shield advantage here, that is totally fine by me. I actually bait my opponent into a cap tie, which is extremely ideal. And check out what I'm going to do. My opponent, they might get a sick farm down here. That's totally fine. But now I'm going to get a sick farm down. I'm going to get an immense sand attack farm down with my own Corviknight here, and I'm hoping that this energy lead is going to give me a lot of play into the back line. We barely farm down the Corviknight before they get to a second payback. We bring in the Gustlord into, we bring in the Annihilate into the Gustlord, and they have an Amoonguss in the back. So Corviknight is very, very strong into this opponent's team, but Amoonguss is just not going to do enough here. I'm hoping that I can survive a foul play here to get a Rage Fist off. And look at this stupid ape. Oh my god, this Pokemon is so freaking OP. I don't understand how we survive that move, but we do. We leave Amoonguss on 1 HP. We get a spam call, but unfortunately for Gustlord, they are not going to be able to take this game. The Air Cutter spam. Oh my god, I can't speak. The Air Cutter spam is just not going to be survivable for them. Even if they have Crunch or something, I think they need, what, 5 Brutal Swings at this point, because they need 2 to claim the shields and 3 to knock out, maybe just 2. Regardless, my opponent realizes that they can't win the game, so they concede the game, and yeah, that's another GG's. All right, in the next match, we see Venusaur in the lead, which is definitely not ideal. This Pokemon is pretty strong into Annihilate and Cradily, so I'm going to catch on Corviknight here as soon as we get the Rage Fist. Very, very decent catch there. And my opponent is going to pivot into Empoleon. And at this point, I'm thinking, okay, they probably don't want to shield their Empoleon, right? Empoleon is just going to get cooked by Annihilate. So if they shield it and let me farm a bunch into it, it's not going to be ideal for them. So I'm just going to full send the payback here. If they want to shield it, that is totally fine. If they don't, then that is an immense amount of damage. However, I still don't quite want to keep switch advantage. Again, I don't really need switch advantage with this team. That Venusaur is going to be pretty strong into my team regardless. So I kind of want my shields up, right? We full send the Ice Punch here. My opponent, they keep over farming more and more and more here. They think I'm going to try for a second catch, and unfortunately for them, that is not the case. So they shield the Rage Fist. Now we pivot into Cradily, and my opponent has an immense amount of energy. So we have to keep that in mind. I'm going to shield the first just in case it is a Frenzy, but I'm no shielding the next move. I do not care what it is. My opponent, however, for some reason, they throw another Sludge Bomb. I do not have to respect that whatsoever. I'm going to do 2 acids and the move. I'm kind of a little bit confused on where their energy is, so I don't want to risk having to shield another Sludge Bomb. And in the back is a Regidrago. So thankfully, because of those 2 acids, we can outpace to the Rock Tomb here and just pivot into Annihilate. Annihilate should be able to fully counter this thing down, and it's going to be another good game. Oh my god, like I'm telling you guys, if you just save a shield for Annihilate, maybe you pivot out of the lead matchup or something like that, just save a shield for Annihilate, and most of the time it's going to work out. Is it going to work out here? I don't know. This is a very bad lead for us. I'm going to bring in Cradily. My opponent, I should cap tie them here, but my opponent, massive brain plays. They actually go for the sneak here. So I let an entire gust through. This game is practically over, right? I mean, I really have no play here. I'm going to no shield this because I really shouldn't. I can bring in my Annihilate here and farm them down so my opponent correctly pivots into their Marowak, but damn, now I'm feeling like I really should have brought in Corviknight here, right? Thankfully, though, this should still be a decent matchup. Unfortunately, Ice Punch quite does not KO, so I do have to make a Bone Club catch into my own Corviknight, but we get a decent Sand Attack farm down. We get 3 Sand Attacks there, which is not too bad. And it is Pidgeot double slap. So this opponent has no idea what a Corviknight is whatsoever. One thing to note, never shield Corviknight into Gastrodon. People that run Gastrodon are sick in the brain. They never full send Water Pulse for some reason. So yeah, just keep that in mind. They full send the Body Slam. I try to make a catch. They wait like 37 turns. I make another misplay here. I could have sent the Ice Punch, but I send the Rage Fist. Thankfully, my opponent shields regardless here. And one last thing to note. Brave Bird does way more damage than Water Pulse, so I really should have shielded that Brave Bird there. Thankfully, we do throw 2 Sand Attacks in the move here, just to guarantee that we don't take that Gust. And now we survive a Mud Slap, throw 4 Sand Attacks and an Air Cutter, and if this knocks out, that's going to be a GG. Let's go, baby. Absolutely never punished. Honestly, I can't believe my opponent didn't bring back that game with all of their stupid baits, but regardless, we are going to be able to take that game. In the next lead, we see Basti, and oh my god, that is amazing. I make an insanely slow swap into Corviknight, and this game already feels over, right? Cradily into Basti is not going to be good enough. Corviknight can't really flip switch into Dusknoir. My opponent full sends the Dynamic Punch, and this is so tragic. Honestly, I just don't see the win con here. I'm going to claim a shield with the Air Cutter bait, but my opponent, I mean, they know that they just shield the next move. This is a Dusknoir Basti user after all, so they're just going to 2 shield and get switch advantage, and this game is already over. Right? Bonk. Nope, my opponent does not respect the payback for some strange reason. They conceded the match, and that's what I like to see, baby. If I see a Basti dead on the ground, I am smiling. In the next game, we see Annihilate into Gyarados. Honestly, this Pokemon kind of cooks my entire team, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do the Annihilate Classic, baby. 2 shield, counter farm down. Let's freaking go. We got this in the bag. We Rage Fist boost. These counters are chunking the Gyarados. And now that I feel like this Gyarados is just going to claim both shields and pivot out because they don't want their Gyarados to get fully knocked out here, right? So We're going to keep over farming here. My opponent tries to catch on a Clodsire, and oh baby, this is just a massive opportunity for me. I can farm up all the way up to the double Rage Fist. My opponent didn't have Sludge Bomb, thankfully, so they're not able to throw that. And I bring in Corviknight. We catch a Stone Edge. Corviknight should be comfortably surviving 2 Stone Edges here, and we should be able to knock out with a Payback plus an Air Cutter, or maybe even 2 Paybacks at this point. The counter damage wasn't much, but it did do quite a bit after that Rage Fist boost. So yeah, we're definitely going to need 2 Paybacks here. My opponent, however, extremely strange play. They bring in Gyarados, and at this point, they're kind of just sacking it for some reason. So Gyarados is gone. They bring in a Charizard here, which is not ideal. It is on Dragon Breath, so I wish I would have stayed with Corviknight a little bit longer there, because we do resist that. But I do have the double Rage Fist here, so if I can land this double Rage Fist, we land the first, my opponent shields the second, we get a few counters in. I don't get that last counter in, which is extremely tragic, and we bring in Shadow Cradily. This Shadow Blast Burn is probably almost going to one-shot here. Look at that damage. Oh my god. My opponent, however, crucial misplay. They swap in Clodsire to try to get a farm down instead of getting more fast move pressure, and unfortunately for them, I am going to be able to take this game. Cradily barely survives the Poison Stings, and we're able to get to a Grass Knot against the Clodsire. GG's to my opponent there. All right, another amazing lead. Like I'm telling you guys, we're catching all the leads. My opponent swaps in Talonflame, and the reason I don't instantly pivot into Cradily here is because I don't really know the Shadow Cradily into Talonflame matchup. I don't know if I can tank a move, or if I'm supposed to like shield first or what. So I know Annihilate just wins this matchup straight up. My opponent actually doesn't Flame Charge instantly, which means that I can throw 1 Rage Fizz and fully farm them down. I have a bunch of energy left for the backline, and honestly, that Cradily isn't even that big of a problem. However, this Drifblim really is. So I throw the Ice Punch for no reason whatsoever. You always just throw Rage Fist there because it does more damage. You get stab damage, but I'm just a goofy boy. I bring in Corviknight instantly, and I'm throwing on alignment, baby. I don't give a crap. If I can guarantee a shield with this payback and burn the clock severely, I am happy. My opponent very smartly full sends the Shadow Ball there. That is a very tragic turn of events. However, we are able to get to an Air Cutter here, thankfully. And landing this damage should be pretty decent. I'm going to bring in Cradily here. I know I have to tank an Icy Wind no matter what. Which definitely isn't ideal, but we do have to tank one. And my opponent, however, they try for a catch here, and I make another misplay. I could have gotten to that Ice Punch there, but for some reason, I throw the Rage Fist. I'm just making this game so much harder on myself for absolutely no reason. However, we still have a very straightforward win con. I just have to farm up to the back-to-back Rock Tombs. Thankfully, my opponent didn't get too much energy out of that Annihilate, so we can farm up to the back-to-back here, throw the Rock Tomb into this Cradily, and throw the second Rock Tomb into the Drifblim, and that's going to be a good game. Again, very unnecessarily complicated game. I really should have played that better. I should have just swapped how I threw my moves. If I throw the Rage Fist into Drifblim and the Ice Punch into Cradily instead of vice versa, we would have guaranteed won that game so easy. We see an extremely tragic lead in the next match. We see Altaria into our Annihilate, which is definitely not ideal. And they pivot into a freaking Caesar. Thankfully, though, Caesar from the Shadow Daily can't really survive a Rock Tomb, so at least we do guarantee a shield here. We bring in Corviknight. Our opponent is instantly throwing a Trailblaze here, which is definitely ideal for us. I guess they thought we were going to bring in Annihilate and just 2-shield farm them down, so they wanted to get boosted as soon as they could. But now they're throwing these Night Slashes, which are definitely doing a lot of damage here. I throw an Air Cutter here, which is definitely a misplay. I thought Caesar wouldn't survive this, but I guess they have a really good Caesar because they barely survived that. And now this is looking very dire. Honestly, if they didn't survive that move, we might have had some play, but unfortunately, this is looking extremely tough to win. We see a U-Fist come in. So I'm going to throw my Rage Fist instantly and hope that I can get a full counter farm down here. That is really my only win con at this point. I do have 2 shields, but the Altaria has quite a bit of energy banked. So I have to tank a Mud Bomb and shield the next 2 Mud Bombs if they do get to them. At this point, however, Since the Caesar is still alive, they can still get a free bullet punch into us, and this is just not looking great. I bring in Corviknight to try to get to a payback, and I make a crucial error. I don't get to the payback, so I don't throw my air cutter like an idiot. And look at this. They actually let the first ice punch go. If I throw that air cutter, we just win on the spot, but I don't throw it, and that is going to cost me the game. I throw the Rage Fist for absolutely no reason whatsoever, and we are going to lose that game. Very, very unfortunate misplay by me there. On to the next lead, we get an amazing one. So thank you. Redemption is always appreciated. My opponent has Fur in the lead. They swap in Gastrodon. We bring in Cradily, and honestly, of course, I really should have brought in Corviknight here. I don't love the Corviknight matchup. Of course, Gastrodon always baits. They have 0 brain cells, and yeah, that is a very decent play by them, whatever. However, I am going to be able to claim a shield with this Grass Knot, and I'm just hoping that I can survive this Water Pulse to get another shield. Let's see if that is the case. Water Pulse does not knock out. 1 HP Cradily, baby, let's go. So thankfully, even with that bait, we are able to claim both shields from our opponent, which is usually how this matchup goes anyways. So I am completely fine with this. I can bring in my Corviknight here. Of course, Water Pulse is going to do a pretty decent amount of damage, but I can overfarm quite severely and just throw the payback. My opponent, however, remember, this is a Gastrodon player, so they're just going to throw a Body Slam to get some chip. And yeah, I mean, this is completely awful for me because I'm already at 100 energy, so definitely not great. I can throw the payback here though, and it should knock out. My opponent brings in for it. I'm gonna bank that payback energy. They have a Wigglytuff in the back, and once again, this is not looking like a winnable game. I should have been a little bit suspicious when they 2-shielded their Gastrodon when that Cradily survived on 1 HP. We cannot win this game no matter what, so we are going to resign that game. On to the next match of the video, we have a Swilus in the lead. This, however, is not completely amazing for ANNIHILAPE. These Dragon Breaths are absolutely chunking. So I'm just going to instantly send this Rage Fist. I know I'm going to have to shield once here. However, if I do send this Rage Fist, I do guarantee that they throw a Dark Pulse because people are crazy. They love baiting double resisted body slams, right? So they could get to 2 resisted body slams. My opponent brings in a Wigglytuff as a counter swap, and we just instantly pivot into ANNIHILAPE. I had a feeling in the beginning that Swilus in the lead, staying into ANNIHILAPE, that means that they're probably pretty weak to it in the back, right? So we pivot into Corviknight. They have a Wigglytuff in the back. And now they bring in Bastiodon, but we have a Cradily for that Wigglytuff, so we're totally fine here. I'm always just not going to shield Corviknight here. I know that Flamethrower did a pretty decent amount of damage, but shielding Corviknight is just a big misplay. Right here, I should have fully knocked out that Bastiodon. Just keep that in mind. I bring in ANNIHILAPE. Bastiodon does 1 Smackdown. I get the 0-turn swap, but Basti gets DRE. They are able to swap out, and this is not looking great now. The reason, because we didn't get that farm down of Basti, means that this Wigglytuff can clear their debuffs later and maybe make a play to win this game. So we have to be a little bit careful about this. Of course, we shield the first move on Cradily. We make a game-winning catch that we didn't have to make to win this game. But if it means that we can beat this Wiggly Basti user, I am all for it. So we get a full farm down of the Bastiodon, and we take that final game. Let's freaking go, baby. If I can beat a Wiggly Basti user, I am a happy boy. But anyways, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I really enjoyed playing these sets. Don't watch the VOD. Don't watch the VOD. But I do really have a lot of fun using Shadow ANNIHILAPE. It's just such a stupid Pokemon, and it's not extremely strong, you know? I mean, it does have really hard answers and whatnot. So, yeah, I had a lot of fun with it. I hope if you guys do try it, let me know how it goes. Once again, I feel like maybe today I will try non-Shadow Cradily, see if it performs a little bit better or not. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, please feel free to leave a like, leave a comment down below on what you want to see next. And I really encourage you guys to go check out my socials. I have a link down in the description below where you can follow me on all my social media, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, all of that stuff, you know, Twitch, you know, the big one. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching once again, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.